Mark Wilson opened his door at 11:47 p.m. to find his ex-wife's sister drenched in rain holding an envelope. "Jessica didn't abandon you," Sarah whispered. "She was dying." 3 years of believing his wife chose to leave. 3 years of his daughter asking why mommy stopped loving her. All lies. And what Sarah confessed next about her own secret would shatter everything twice over. "You deserve to know why Jessica really left." Mark stood in his doorway, dish towel still in his hand, staring at Sarah like she'd just spoken in a foreign language. 11:47 p.m. Emma had been asleep for exactly 23 minutes. He'd counted. 3 stories, 2 glasses of water, 1 lengthy debate about whether stuffed animals got cold at night. And now this. Sarah on his doorstep, Jessica's sister, soaked through, shaking, mascara running down her face in black streaks, holding a manila envelope like it contained state secrets. "What are you talking about?" Mark's voice came out harder than he meant. "It's almost midnight, Sarah." "I know what time it is." Her teeth were chattering. "I couldn't wait anymore. I couldn't keep lying." "Lying about what?" "Everything." She thrust the envelope toward him. "Please, let me inside. You need to see this." Mark looked at her. Really looked. The woman was trembling so hard she could barely stand. No jacket, dragging a small suitcase. Her car parked crooked in his driveway like she'd pulled in fast and desperate. He stepped back. "Get in here before you freeze to death." She stumbled into the entryway, water pooling on the hardwood. Didn't move any further. Just stood there dripping and shaking and holding that envelope with white knuckles. "Talk," Mark said. "Now." "Jessica didn't leave because she stopped loving you." Sarah's voice cracked. "She left because she was dying." The word hit him like a physical blow. "What?" "Cancer, stage 3. The doctors gave her 6 months, maybe a year with treatment." Mark's brain refused to process. "That's not—" "Jessica filed for divorce 3 years ago. She walked out. She never looked back. Because she thought watching her die would destroy you both." "That's insane." "That's what I told her." Sarah shoved the envelope into his chest. "Read it. All of it. Then you can decide if you believe me." Mark took the envelope. Heavy. Stuffed full. His hands felt numb. He opened it. The first document had a hospital logo. Massachusetts General. Patient name, Jessica Ann Wilson. Then medical terms that didn't make sense. Invasive ductal carcinoma. Lymph node involvement. Metastatic potential. "What is this?" "Her diagnosis. Keep going." He flipped through more pages. Treatment protocols. Chemotherapy schedules. Radiation plans. Words like aggressive and advanced stage and limited prognosis jumping out at him. All dated 3 years ago. She was sick. He heard his own voice from somewhere far away. "She was sick and she left. She thought she was protecting you. Protecting me." His voice got louder. "She let me think she abandoned us. She let Emma think her mother didn't want her anymore." "I know." "You know." Mark threw the papers down. They scattered across the floor. "Do you have any idea what the last 3 years have been like? Do you know how many times Emma cried herself to sleep asking why mommy left? How many times I had to look at my daughter and tell her I didn't know why her mother didn't love her enough to stay? Mark, no." He pointed at her. "You don't get to mark me. If you knew this whole time, then you're just as guilty as she is." Sarah flinched like he'd slapped her. "You're right, I am. That's why I'm here." 3 years too late. I know I should have told you sooner. But Jessica made me swear. She was my sister. She was dying. What was I supposed to do?" "Tell me the truth." Mark's voice echoed through the house. "That's what you were supposed to do." Silence. Mark dragged his hands through his hair. His whole body was shaking now. 3 years. 3 years of anger and confusion and trying to hold his daughter together while falling apart inside. Is she dead? The question came out quieter. Is that why you're here now? No. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. That's not why I'm here. Then why? Why show up at midnight with medical records from 3 years ago? Because she's dying again. Mark felt the floor tilt. What? She went into remission about a year ago. But the cancer came back 2 months ago. It's in her lymph nodes now. Sarah's voice broke completely. The doctors are saying 6 months, maybe less. Mark sat down hard on the stairs. She's alive. Jessica's alive. Yes. For how long? How long has she been in remission? Almost a year. A year. Mark's voice cracked. She's been healthy for a year and didn't tell us. She wanted to. God, Mark, she wanted to so badly. But she didn't. She was scared. Scared you'd never forgive her. Scared Emma wouldn't want to see her. Scared the cancer would come back and prove she'd put you through hell for nothing. Sarah knelt down in front of him. And she was right. It did come back. Mark stared at the scattered papers around his feet. Medical records, treatment plans, a stranger's documentation of his wife's death sentence. Ex-wife. Where is she? Massachusetts General, same hospital. She's been there 3 weeks. Does Emma know? Does Emma know her mother is alive? No. Jessica didn't want me to tell anyone until she decided what to do. What to do? Mark's laugh came out bitter. What is there to do? Emma's mother is alive and dying, and Emma doesn't even know she exists. That's why I'm here. Jessica needs to see Emma. Before it's too late. But I couldn't keep lying to make that happen. You needed to know the truth first. Mark picked up one of the fallen papers. A doctor's note. Prognosis poor. Recommendation palliative care planning. His hands started shaking again. There's something else, Sarah said quietly. Something at the bottom of the envelope. Mark reached for it. His fingers touched a smaller envelope inside. Personal stationery. His name written on it in Jessica's handwriting. What is this? A letter. She wrote it 3 years ago, for after she died. But you need to read it now. Mark held the envelope like it might explode. His name in Jessica's neat script. The ink slightly faded. He opened it. The letter inside was 1 page, single-spaced, every line in Jessica's hand. Mark, he read aloud, his voice barely a whisper. If you're reading this, I'm gone. He stopped, looked at Sarah. She wrote her own goodbye letter. Keep reading. Mark's eyes moved down the page. I'm sorry for leaving. I'm sorry for lying. I'm sorry for taking the coward's way out. But I need you to understand why I did it. His throat tightened. When the doctor told me I had 6 months, maybe a year, I watched my whole future collapse. I saw Emma crying at my funeral. I saw you trying to be strong while taking care of me and Emma, and falling apart inside. I saw years of medical bills and hospital rooms, and a little girl losing her mother slowly piece by piece. I couldn't do that to you. Mark's vision blurred. So I lied. I told you I didn't love you anymore. I told you I needed to find myself. I watched your heart break, and I told myself it was for the best. You're angry. I know you're angry. You have every right to be. He wiped his eyes with the back of his hand. But please, Mark, please don't let Emma think she wasn't loved. Don't let her grow up believing her mother didn't want her. Tell her I loved her more than anything. Tell her I thought about her every single day. His voice cracked. Tell her I'm sorry. Sarah was crying now too, silent tears running down her face. Mark kept reading. I'd rather you hate me for leaving than watch me die. That's the truth. I was a coward. I chose the easy way out for me and made it harder for you. I'm sorry. Tell Emma I love her. Tell her every day. The letter ended, signed Love Jessica with a shaky signature. Mark read it again, Then a third time, each word cutting deeper. "She thought she was saving us," he said finally. "She destroyed us to save us." "Yes." He folded the letter carefully, put it back in the envelope, set it on the step beside him. "I need a minute." "Take all the time you need." But Sarah didn't move. She stayed kneeling on the floor watching him. Mark's mind was racing. Jessica alive. Jessica dying. Emma's mother alive and dying at the same time. 3 years of anger suddenly feeling misplaced. 3 years of being furious at someone who'd been trying to protect them in the most misguided way possible. "How bad is it?" he asked. "The cancer now." "Bad. The chemo isn't working like they hoped. They're talking about experimental treatments, clinical trials." "Does she have time?" "Time to see Emma?" "I think so. But Mark, it's going to be hard, really hard. She doesn't look the same. The chemo, the weight loss. Emma might not recognize her. Emma deserves to know her mother loved her. Whatever Jessica looks like, whatever happens next, Emma deserves to know that." Sarah nodded. "Jessica will be so relieved. I'm not doing it for Jessica. I'm doing it for Emma." The words came out colder than he meant, but he didn't take them back. Sarah stood slowly, wiped her eyes. "I should go. Let you process all this. I can come back tomorrow and we can figure out—" "Where are you going?" "Hotel, I guess. I didn't really plan past showing up here." "It's midnight. Stay here. Guest room's at the end of the hall." "Mark, I can't. You just blew up my entire life. The least you can do is stay here so I can yell at you more in the morning." It wasn't quite a joke, but close enough. Sarah almost smiled. "Okay." Mark showed her upstairs, moving quietly past Emma's room. His daughter's door was cracked open. He could see her small shape under the covers, Mr. Hoppy the stuffed rabbit clutched in her arms. The rabbit Jessica had given her for her 2nd birthday, the last birthday they'd spent together as a family. "Towels are in the bathroom," Mark said, his voice low. "Help yourself to whatever you need." "Thank you." He started to walk away. "Mark." Sarah's voice stopped him. "There's something else I need to tell you." He turned. "More? What else could there possibly be?" She looked down. "It's about me. About the last 3 years." "What about them?" "I've been watching you, both of you. I couldn't stay away." Mark's stomach dropped. "What do you mean watching us?" "The coffee shop near Emma's school. I'm there every morning when you drop her off. I've seen her grow up. From the shadows. From a distance. But I've seen her." Mark felt something cold move through him. "You've been stalking us." "No. Not stalking. Just making sure you were okay. Making sure Emma was okay. For 3 years you've been secretly watching my daughter, and you didn't think to tell me her mother was alive. Jessica made me promise." "I don't care what Jessica made you promise." Mark's voice rose again. "You've been at Emma's school every morning for 3 years. Not every morning. Just often. I needed to see her. I needed to know she was happy." Mark's mind was reeling. "What else? What else have you done?" Sarah's face crumbled. "The books. On your porch. On Emma's birthdays. Those were from me." Everything clicked into place. "The books with no return address," Mark said slowly. "The ones that were always exactly what Emma wanted. That was you." "Yes." "How did you know what she wanted?" "I listened. At the coffee shop. You and Emma talking while you waited for your order. She'd tell you about books she wanted to read. And I'd send them." Mark didn't know what to feel. Grateful, angry, violated. What else? His voice was flat now. "What else have you been doing while secretly watching my family?" Sarah's eyes filled with tears again. "The school fundraisers, the anonymous donations, that was me, and the art supply donation to her classroom, and the new playground equipment last year." Jesus, Sarah. I couldn't help her openly. I couldn't be part of her life. So I helped how I could. You could have told me the truth. You could have been her aunt instead of her stalker. I know that now. But at the time I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought I was honoring Jessica's wishes while still being there for Emma. Mark rubbed his face. This is insane. All of this is completely insane. I know. Does Jessica know about you watching us? No, I never told her. I knew she'd make me stop. They stood in the hallway, Emma sleeping peacefully behind one door, Sarah's secrets crashing down around them. Go to bed, Mark said finally. We'll deal with all this in the morning. Sarah nodded, disappeared into the guest room. Mark stood outside Emma's door for a long time, watching her sleep, watching her breathe, thinking about how to tell his 8-year-old daughter that everything she believed about her mother was a lie. He went to his own room, didn't sleep, lay in the darkness, staring at the ceiling. Jessica alive, Jessica dying, Sarah watching them for 3 years, books appearing on their porch, anonymous donations, coffee shop surveillance. His phone said 3:47 a.m. when he finally gave up on sleep. He went downstairs, made coffee, sat at the kitchen table with Jessica's letter and tried to imagine the conversation ahead. Hey, Em, remember Mommy? Turns out she didn't abandon us. She was just dying and thought it would be easier if we hated her. Also, she's dying again. Want to go see her? Perfect. That wouldn't traumatize his daughter at all. Footsteps on the stairs. Mark looked up. Sarah stood in the doorway wearing borrowed sweatpants and one of his old t-shirts. Her eyes were red-rimmed. She looked like she hadn't slept either. Coffee? Mark asked. Please. He poured her a cup. They sat in silence. How are you going to tell Emma? Sarah asked finally. I have no idea. Do you want me there? I don't know that either. Mark wrapped his hands around his mug. How did it come to this? How did we get to a place where I have to tell my daughter her dead mother isn't dead? Jessica tried to protect her, in the worst possible way. Protection looks different from where I'm sitting. I know. More silence. When does Emma usually wake up? Sarah asked. 6, like clockwork. Mark glanced at the clock. 5:53 a.m. You should probably be there, he said. When I tell her, she should meet you properly. Are you sure? No, but nothing about this situation makes sense. Might as well keep the trend going. At 6:02, they heard movement upstairs. Small feet on the floor. The bathroom door opening and closing. Mark stood. Here we go. Emma appeared in the kitchen doorway, still in her pajamas, dragging Mr. Hoppy behind her. She stopped when she saw Sarah. Daddy, who's that? Mark knelt down. Em, come here. We need to talk about something important. Emma walked over slowly. Her eyes never left Sarah. Is she the person from last night I heard voices? Yes, this is Sarah, and she has something to tell us about Mommy. Emma's whole body went still. About Mommy. Mark pulled his daughter onto his lap. Yeah, baby. About Mommy. And I need you to listen really carefully, okay? Okay. Sarah knelt down beside them. Emma, my name is Sarah. I'm your mommy's sister. That makes me your aunt. Emma's eyes went wide. I have an aunt. You do. And I've wanted to meet you for a very, very long time. Why didn't you? Sarah glanced at Mark. He nodded. Because your mommy asked me not to. Because she had a secret. A big secret. And she made me promise not to tell. What secret? Mark took a breath. Em, do you remember 3 years ago when Mommy left? Emma nodded, her grip tightening on Mr. Hoppy. Mommy didn't leave because she stopped loving us. She left because she was very, very sick. Emma's voice came out small. Sick how? She had cancer. Do you know what that is? Kind of. My friend Hannah's grandma had it. Well, Mommy had it too. And the doctors told her she might die. So she thought if she went away, it would be easier for us. Emma processed this. Did she die? No, baby. She didn't die. She got better for a while. But now she's sick again. So she's alive. Yes. Emma looked at Sarah. Is that why you're here to tell us Mommy's alive? Yes, sweetie. Where is she? Mark's throat tightened. In a hospital, in Massachusetts, and she really wants to see you. Emma was quiet for a long moment. Mark could see her small mind working through it all. Why didn't she come back when she got better? Emma asked. Why didn't she tell us? She was scared. Scared you'd be angry. Scared we wouldn't forgive her. Are you angry, Daddy? Mark looked at his daughter's face. So small, so trusting. Yeah, Em. I'm pretty angry, but I'm also really glad she's alive. Me too. Emma hugged Mr. Hoppy tighter. Can we go see her today? Do you want to? I want to ask her something. What do you want to ask? Emma's eyes filled with tears. I want to ask her if that's why she missed my birthdays. Because she was sick. Because I thought maybe she just forgot about me. Mark pulled his daughter close. Oh, baby, she didn't forget. She could never forget you. How do you know? Because Sarah's been sending you those books on your porch every birthday. Those were from your mommy. Emma looked at Sarah. Those were from Mommy. Sarah nodded, crying now. She picked them all out. She told me exactly which ones to get. She knew everything you liked. Even the dragon one. Especially the dragon one. That's her favorite too. Emma was quiet again. Processing. Then, I want to see her. Today. Can we go today? Mark looked at Sarah. I'll call the hospital, Sarah said. I'll let them know we're coming. She stood and pulled out her phone, walked into the living room. Mark held Emma, rocking her slightly. You okay, Em? I'm scared, Daddy. Me too, baby. Me too. What if she looks different? Aunt Sarah said she might look different. She probably will. The medicine makes people look different, but it's still Mommy. Okay. Okay. From the living room, Sarah's voice. Yes, I'll hold. Emma slipped off Mark's lap, walked over to where Sarah stood with the phone to her ear. Aunt Sarah. Emma's small voice. Sarah looked down. Yes, sweetheart. Thank you for the books. They were my favorite presents. Sarah's face crumpled. She knelt down and pulled Emma into a hug. You're welcome, baby. You're so welcome. Mark watched them. His daughter and this woman who'd been secretly loving her from the shadows for 3 years. Everything was broken. Everything was wrong. But maybe somehow they could figure out how to put the pieces back together. Sarah was still on the phone. Her face changed, went pale. What? She said into the phone. When? How bad? Mark stood. What's wrong? Sarah held up one finger. Yes. Yes, we'll come right now. Tell her we're coming. Tell her to hold on. She hung up, looked at Mark with panic in her eyes. We need to go, right now. What happened? Jessica had a bad night, her breathing. They had to put her on oxygen. The doctor says if we want Emma to see her while she's still coherent, we need to go now. Emma's voice small and scared. Is Mommy going to die today? Sarah knelt down. I don't know, sweetheart, but we need to see her as soon as possible. Mark was already moving. I'll get dressed. Emma, go put on clothes, fast as you can. They moved like a fire drill. Emma throwing on jeans and a t-shirt. Mark pulling on yesterday's clothes. Sarah still in borrowed sweats but grabbing her suitcase. 7 minutes later, they were in the car. Emma in the back seat clutching Mr. Hoppy. Sarah in the passenger seat giving directions. Mark driving too fast on empty morning roads. How far? Mark asked. 2 hours normally. Maybe 90 minutes if we push it. We're pushing it. Emma's voice from the back. Daddy, what if I don't know what to say to her? Mark met her eyes in the rearview mirror. You don't have to say anything, Em. Just being there is enough. But what if she asks me if I forgive her? Do you forgive her? Emma looked down at Mr. Hoppy. I don't know. Is it okay if I don't know? It's very okay. They drove in silence. Morning sun rising. Traffic light. Mark's hands gripping the steering wheel like a lifeline. Sarah's phone buzzed. She looked at the screen. Her face went white. Mark, drive faster. Why, what's wrong? She showed him the text. From a hospital number. Patient declining rapidly. Family should come immediately. Mark pressed the accelerator. The car surged forward. Emma started crying in the back seat. We're going to make it, Sarah said, her voice shaking. We're going to make it in time. But Mark saw the fear in her eyes. The fear that said, maybe they wouldn't. He drove faster. The speedometer hit 85. Mark's knuckles were white on the steering wheel. How much longer? His voice was tight. Sarah checked her phone. 40 minutes, maybe 35 if you keep this speed. I'm keeping it. Emma's crying had gone quiet. Mark glanced in the rearview mirror. His daughter's face was pressed against Mr. Hoppy, her eyes squeezed shut. Em, you okay back there? I don't want her to die before I get there. She won't. We're going to make it. You don't know that. She was right. He didn't. Sarah's phone buzzed again. She looked at it, and her breathing changed. Don't tell me, Mark said. Her oxygen levels dropped. They're moving her to ICU. Damn it! Mark pressed the accelerator harder. 90 miles per hour now. Call them back. Tell them we're 30 minutes out. Tell them to keep her awake. Sarah dialed. Yes, this is Sarah Chen, Jessica Wilson's sister. We're almost there. Can you tell the nurses to keep her alert? Her daughter is coming to see her. Her 8-year-old daughter who hasn't seen her in 3 years. A pause. I understand. Just please try. She hung up. What did they say? Mark asked. They'll do what they can. That wasn't good enough. Mark needed a guarantee. Needed someone to promise him that his daughter wouldn't walk into that hospital room and find her mother already gone. Daddy. Emma's voice was small. What if she doesn't remember me? She remembers you, baby. I promise she remembers you. But it's been 3 years. I was 5. I'm different now. You're still her Emma. That doesn't change. Sarah turned in her seat to look at Emma. Your mommy talks about you every single day. She knows everything about you. She knows you lost your front teeth. She knows you learned to ride a bike. She knows you love dragons and hate broccoli and sleep with Mr. Hoppy every night. How does she know all that? Because I told her. Every time I visited, I told her everything I saw. Emma was quiet for a moment. Were you spying on us? Sort of. Yes. That's weird. I know. I'm sorry. But you sent me the books. I did. So I guess it's okay. Emma paused. Can I ask you something? Anything, sweetheart. Does Mommy look scary? Like really sick scary? Sarah glanced at Mark. He nodded slightly. She looks different, Sarah said carefully. She's thinner. She doesn't have hair right now because of the medicine. She has tubes and machines. But it's still your mommy. Her eyes are the same. Her smile is the same. Will she be able to talk to me? I think so. She was talking yesterday. What did she say? Sarah's voice cracked. She said she hoped she'd get to see you one more time. She said it was the only thing she wanted. Emma started crying again. Mark's chest felt like it was in a vice. Almost there, Em. Just hold on. They flew past a sign. Massachusetts General Hospital. Next exit. Mark took the exit too fast. The car tilted. Sarah grabbed the door handle. Sorry, Mark muttered. Just get us there alive. He pulled into the hospital parking garage, didn't bother looking for a proper spot, just stopped in a loading zone. Come on. He was out of the car, opening Emma's door, lifting her out. She wrapped her arms around his neck. Sarah was already running toward the entrance. Mark followed Emma, bouncing against his shoulder. Through the automatic doors, past the information desk, Sarah leading them to the elevators. 4th floor, room 417, ICU. The elevator ride took forever. Emma's face was buried in Mark's neck. He could feel her tears on his skin. The doors opened. White hallways, antiseptic smell, beeping machines. Sarah turned left, walking fast. Mark kept pace. This way. They passed nurses, doctors, other families with other tragedies written on their faces. Mark's heart was hammering so hard he could hear it in his ears. Sarah stopped outside a room. The door was partially open. This is it. Mark set Emma down, knelt in front of her. You ready? Emma shook her head. No. Me neither, but we're going in anyway. What if I say the wrong thing? There's no wrong thing, baby. Just talk to her. That's all she wants. Just to hear your voice. Emma looked at the door. Is she going to die? I don't know. Today. I don't know that either. I'm scared, Daddy. I know. I'm scared too. Mark took her hand. But we're doing this together. Okay. Emma nodded. Sarah pushed the door open slowly. The woman in the bed didn't look like Jessica. She was so thin, so pale. Tubes running from her arms, a nasal cannula delivering oxygen. Her head covered with a soft knit cap. The machines around her beeped steadily. But when she turned her head toward the door, Mark saw her eyes. Jessica's eyes, still the same green he'd fallen in love with 12 years ago. Those eyes landed on Emma and filled with tears immediately. Emma. Her voice was barely a whisper. Is that really you? Emma stood frozen in the doorway. Mark felt her hand squeeze his so hard it hurt. It's okay, he whispered. Go on. Emma took one step forward, then stopped. Jessica's hand lifted slightly from the bed, reaching. My baby. My sweet baby girl. Mommy. Emma's voice cracked. Yes, baby. It's me. Emma took another step. You look different. I know. I'm sorry. Aunt Sarah said you were sick. Is that true? Yes, sweetheart. Very sick. Is that why you left 3 years ago? Jessica's tears spilled over. Yes. That's why I left. Emma walked closer to the bed. Slowly. Like approaching something that might break. Daddy said you thought it would be easier if we thought you didn't love us. I did think that. I was wrong. Yeah, you were. Emma's voice got stronger. It wasn't easier. It was really hard. I know. I'm so sorry. I cried a lot. Jessica's face crumpled. I'm sorry, baby. I'm so sorry. Daddy cried too. I heard him sometimes at night when he thought I was asleep. Mark felt his throat close up. He hadn't known Emma heard that. I made a terrible mistake, Jessica said. The worst mistake. I thought I was protecting you, but I just hurt you more. Emma reached the edge of the bed, set Mr. Hoppy on the blanket. You gave me this for my 2nd birthday. Jessica looked at the stuffed rabbit and started crying harder. You still have him. I sleep with him every night. Daddy said you picked him out special. I did. I looked everywhere for the perfect one. He's my favorite thing. I'm so glad. Jessica's hand moved slowly across the blanket toward the rabbit, toward Emma. Can I hold your hand? Emma looked back at Mark. He nodded. She put her small hand in Jessica's thin one. You got so big, Jessica whispered. You're so beautiful. I'm 8 now. I know. I missed 3 birthdays. 4. You missed 4. Jessica closed her eyes. You're right. 4. I missed your 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th birthdays. Aunt Sarah sent books. Were those from you? Yes. Did you like them? I loved them, especially the dragon one. That's my favorite too. I read it when I was your age." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, "Why didn't you come back when you got better? Aunt Sarah said you got better for a while." "I was scared." "Of what?" "That you wouldn't want to see me, that you'd hate me for leaving." "Do you think I hate you?" Jessica looked at her daughter's face. "Do you?" Emma thought about it. "I don't know. Maybe a little bit, but also I missed you really bad." "I missed you too. Every single day. Every single minute." "Then why didn't you call, or write, or come visit?" "Because I'm a coward. Because I made one wrong choice, and then I was too scared to fix it. And then the cancer came back and I thought maybe it was my punishment for leaving." "That's not how cancer works," Emma said. "We learned about it in school. It's not a punishment, it's just cells that grow wrong." Jessica laughed. It turned into a cough. A nurse appeared from somewhere, checked the monitors, adjusted the oxygen, then disappeared again. When Jessica could breathe again, she squeezed Emma's hand. "When did you get so smart?" "I'm in 3rd grade now. I'm very smart." "I bet you are." Mark stood in the doorway watching. His chest ached. Sarah stood beside him, tears running silently down her face. Emma climbed carefully onto the edge of the bed. "Does it hurt, the cancer?" "Sometimes, but not right now. Right now I'm just happy. Because I'm here. Because you're here. Can I hug you? Or will that hurt?" "Please hug me. I don't care if it hurts." Emma leaned forward carefully and put her arms around her mother. Jessica wrapped her thin arms around her daughter and buried her face in Emma's hair. They stayed like that for a long time. When they finally pulled apart, Emma had tears on her face too. "I want to ask you something." "Anything." "Is that why you missed my birthdays?" "All of them, because you were sick." "Yes, baby. And I thought about you every single birthday. I made Sarah describe your parties to me. What cake you had. What presents you got. Who came over." Emma looked at Sarah. "You went to my parties?" Sarah nodded. "From across the street, through the window. I wanted to see you blow out your candles." "That's really creepy, Aunt Sarah." "I know. But also kind of nice." Jessica laughed again. "Your Aunt Sarah loves you very much. She's been watching over you when I couldn't. She sent really good books." "She did, didn't she?" Emma picked up Mr. Hoppy, held him close. "Are you going to die?" The question hung in the air. Mark tensed, wanted to intervene. But Jessica met her daughter's eyes directly. "I might, sweetheart. The doctors are trying very hard to help me. But the cancer is very strong this time." "When?" "I don't know. Maybe soon. Maybe I have a few more months." "That's not very long." "No, it's not." Emma's voice got smaller. "I just got you back." "I know, baby, I know. I'm so sorry." "Can I come visit you until you die? Can I come see you a lot?" Jessica looked at Mark. "That's up to your daddy." Mark stepped forward into the room. "Yes, you can visit, as much as you want." Jessica's eyes met his. "Mark, hi." "Hi, Jess. Thank you for bringing her. Thank you for not hating me enough to keep her away. I could never do that." "I wouldn't blame you if you did." "I know." They looked at each other across the hospital room. 12 years of history between them. 3 years of lies. 1 dying woman. 1 broken man. 1 little girl trying to understand. "I'm sorry," Jessica said. "For all of it. For leaving, for lying. For making Sarah lie too. For being too much of a coward to tell you the truth." "You should have told me," Mark said. His voice was steady, but his hands were shaking. "You should have trusted me to handle it." "I know. I would have been there. Through all of it. The chemo, the hospitals, the bad days. I would have been there." "That's why I didn't tell you. Because you would have been there and it would have destroyed you." "It destroyed me anyway. Just in a different way." Jessica closed her eyes. I can't take it back. I can't fix what I did. All I can do is say I'm sorry and mean it with everything I have. Are you sorry? More than you'll ever know. Mark nodded slowly. Okay. Okay. It's not forgiveness. Not yet. But it's a start. Emma looked between her parents. Are you mad at Mommy, Daddy? Yeah, I am. Is that okay? To be mad at someone who's dying? I think so. I think you're allowed to feel whatever you feel. Emma turned back to Jessica. I'm mad at you too, but also glad you're not dead. Jessica smiled through her tears. That's fair? A doctor appeared in the doorway. Young, female, tired eyes. I'm sorry to interrupt. I need to check Mrs. Wilson's vitals. Mark took Emma's hand. We'll step outside. No. Jessica's voice was sharp, urgent. Please don't go. Not yet. The doctor looked at Jessica. I really need to examine you. Just give me 5 more minutes, please. The doctor hesitated. 5 minutes. Then I need to run tests. She left. Jessica turned back to Emma. Can you come back tomorrow and the day after? For as long as I have. I want to. Daddy. Mark looked at Jessica, saw the desperation in her eyes, saw how fragile she was, how little time might be left. We'll come, he said. Every day until school starts again. Then weekends. We'll figure it out. Thank you. Jessica reached out her other hand toward Mark. He hesitated, then took it. Her skin was cold, thin. He could feel every bone. I loved you, Jessica said, looking up at him. I need you to know that. When I left, I loved you. I left because I loved you, not because I stopped. That's a really twisted way to show love, Jess. I know. You broke my heart. I know that too. You made Emma think she wasn't wanted. I know. Jessica was crying again. I know what I did. I know I can't fix it. But I'm trying to do one thing right before I die. I'm trying to tell the truth. Mark pulled his hand away gently. The truth is, you were selfish. You made a choice that made things easier for you and harder for everyone else. You didn't trust us to handle it. You didn't give us the choice. You're right. But Emma needs you now. She needs to have a mother for whatever time is left, so I'm going to put my anger aside and let that happen. For her, not for you. Jessica nodded. I understand. The doctor appeared again. I really need to examine her now. Mark picked Emma up. Come on, Em, let's go get breakfast. Let the doctors do their job. Emma looked back at Jessica. I'll come back later. Please, yes, come back. Okay. Bye, Mommy. Bye, baby. I love you. I love you too. Mark carried Emma out of the room. Sarah followed. In the hallway, Emma wrapped her arms around Mark's neck and started crying hard. I got it out, Em. Let it out. She looks so sick, Daddy. I know. Is she really going to die? Probably, yeah. That's not fair. No, it's not. Sarah wiped her eyes. I need to talk to the doctor. Find out what's happening. I'll meet you in the cafeteria. Mark nodded. Sarah disappeared back into the room. Mark carried Emma down the hall, into the elevator, down to the first floor, found the cafeteria, set Emma down in a booth. You want food? Emma shook her head. My stomach hurts. Mine too. They sat in silence. The cafeteria was mostly empty. A few nurses on break. A janitor mopping in the corner. The smell of bad coffee and antiseptic. Daddy? Emma's voice was small. Yeah, Em. Did you love Mommy before she left? Very much. Do you still? Mark thought about that. I don't know. I love who she was. I don't know if I love who she became. That's confusing. Yeah, it is. I think I love her, even though I'm mad at her. Is that okay? That's very okay. You can feel both things at once. Emma picked up a napkin, started tearing it into small pieces. Aunt Sarah loves you. Mark's head snapped up. What? I heard her say it last night. She said she's been falling in love with you. I was awake. I heard through the door. Emma, is that weird? That she loves you since Mommy is her sister? It's complicated. Do you love her back? I don't know. I barely know her. She's been watching us for 3 years. That's weird but also kind of sweet. Like she cared even when she couldn't be close. When did you get so wise? I'm 8. I'm practically grown up. Mark almost smiled. Not quite yet, kiddo. Sarah appeared at their table, slid into the booth across from them. Her face was pale. What did the doctor say? Mark asked. It's bad. The cancer spread to her liver. The chemo isn't working. They're talking about hospice. How long? Weeks. Maybe a month. Emma looked up sharply. A month? That's all. I'm sorry, sweetie. The doctors are doing everything they can. Can't they try harder? They are trying. The cancer is just too strong. Emma started crying again. I don't want her to die in a month. I just met her. Sarah reached across the table and took Emma's hand. We're going to make the most of the time we have. We're going to visit every day. We're going to tell her stories. We're going to let her know you're okay. But I'm not okay. None of this is okay. No, you're right. It's not. Mark's phone buzzed. He looked at it. A text from his boss. Where are you? You didn't show up for the morning meeting. He'd completely forgotten about work. I have to call my office, he said. Emma, stay here with Aunt Sarah. I'll be right back. He walked outside the cafeteria, dialed his boss. Steve, it's Mark. I'm sorry about this morning. Family emergency. What kind of emergency? The kind where my ex-wife, who I thought abandoned us, is actually dying in a hospital, and my daughter just met her for the first time in 3 years. Silence on the other end. Jesus, Mark. Take the week. Take 2 weeks. Whatever you need. Thank you. Is your daughter okay? No, but she will be, eventually. He hung up, stood in the hallway trying to breathe. Everything was falling apart. Everything was broken. Jessica was dying. Emma was traumatized. Sarah was in love with him. His whole life had imploded in less than 24 hours. He wanted to scream, to punch something, to rewind time and make different choices. But he couldn't do any of those things. So he took a deep breath, straightened his shoulders, walked back to the cafeteria. Emma was talking quietly to Sarah. Something about dragons. Sarah was listening intently, responding, making Emma almost smile. Mark slid back into the booth. What do we do now? He asked. Sarah looked at him. We go back upstairs. We spend time with her. We let Emma ask her questions. We let Jessica be a mother for whatever time she has left. And after, when she's gone, then we figure out how to keep living, how to help Emma through it, how to be a family even though nothing looks like it's supposed to. Mark met her eyes, saw the pain there, the guilt, but also the love, the fierce protective love for Emma that had kept her watching from coffee shops and sending books on birthdays. You really sent all those books? He asked. Every single one. Why? Because I couldn't be her aunt, so I had to be something, even if it was anonymous, even if she never knew. She knows now. Yeah, she does. Emma finished her napkin shredding. Can we go back up? I want to tell Mommy about school, about my teacher and my friends and the science fair project I did. You want to tell her about your life? Mark asked. Yeah, she missed 3 years. That's a lot to catch up on. You're right. It is. They rode the elevator back up to the 4th floor, walked down the white hallway, past the nurse's station, back to room 417. Jessica was awake. The doctor was gone. She turned when they entered. You came back. I said I would, Emma said. I have stuff to tell you. I want to hear everything. Emma climbed back onto the edge of the bed, started talking. About her teacher, Mrs. Patterson, who had a cat named Mr. Whiskers. About her best friend Zoe, who could do a cartwheel. About the science fair where she made a volcano that actually erupted. Jessica listened to every word, her eyes never leaving Emma's face. Mark and Sarah stood by the window, not talking, just watching. She's good with her, Sarah said quietly. Emma. Yeah, she is. I'm glad you brought her. I'm not sure yet if it's the right thing, but it's the only thing. They stood in silence, Emma's voice filling the room, talking about soccer practice and spelling tests and the treehouse Mark built last summer. Jessica asked questions, laughed at Emma's stories, cried when Emma described missing her mother at the school mother-daughter dance. Time passed. Nurses came and went. Machines beeped. The sun moved across the sky. At some point, Emma fell asleep on the bed next to Jessica, curled up carefully beside her dying mother. Mr. Hoppy clutched between them. Jessica looked at Mark across the room, mouthed the words, "Thank you." He nodded. Didn't say anything. Because what was there to say? His ex-wife was dying. His daughter was sleeping beside her. And somehow, impossibly, they were going to have to figure out how to survive what came next. Sarah's hand found his, squeezed gently. He didn't pull away. Outside the window, the sun was setting, painting the sky orange and pink. Inside room 417, a family that had been broken was trying to put itself back together. Even though all the pieces didn't fit anymore, even though nothing would ever be the same, they were trying. And for today, that was enough. A nurse woke them at 8 p.m. Visiting hours were over. Emma stirred against Jessica's side. "Do we have to go?" "Yes, sweetheart," Jessica whispered. "But you'll come back tomorrow. Promise." "Then I'll be here waiting." Mark lifted Emma carefully off the bed. She was half asleep, clinging to Mr. Hoppy. Jessica's hand lingered on her daughter's arm until the last possible moment. "Good night, baby." "Night, Mommy." They drove back in darkness. Emma fell asleep into the back seat within 10 minutes. Sarah stared out the window. Mark kept his eyes on the road. "You can stay at the house again," Mark said quietly, "if you need to." "Are you sure?" "No. But nothing about this situation makes sense anyway." "That's fair." They pulled into the driveway at 10:30. Mark carried Emma inside up to her room, tucked her into bed without changing her clothes. She didn't wake up, just rolled over and hugged Mr. Hoppy tighter. Downstairs, Sarah was sitting at the kitchen table. Mark made coffee, even though it was late. Neither of them would sleep anyway. "How are you doing?" Sarah asked. Mark laughed without humor. "I have no idea. My ex-wife is dying. My daughter just reconnected with her mother, only to lose her again in a few weeks. And you're here in my kitchen after spending 3 years secretly watching us. How do you think I'm doing?" "That's fair too." "Stop saying that." "Sorry." Mark sat down across from her. "What happens when she dies? What happens to Emma?" "She'll grieve. We'll help her through it." "And you? What happens to you?" Sarah looked down at her coffee. "I don't know. I've been living for Jessica for 3 years, watching Emma for her, visiting her every week, sending her updates. I don't know who I am without that." "You said you've been falling in love with me." She flinched. "I shouldn't have said that. Bad timing." "When would have been good timing?" "Never. There is no good timing for your dying sister's husband to find out you have feelings for him." "Ex-husband. That doesn't make it better." Mark drank his coffee. It was too hot. Burned his tongue. "Tell me about the 3 years. Tell me what you saw." "Why?" "Because I need to understand. I need to know what you were doing while I was falling apart." Sarah took a breath. "The first time I saw you was 6 months after Jessica left. I drove to your house planning to tell you everything. But I saw you in the yard with Emma. You were pushing her on a swing. She was laughing, and you looked so broken underneath the smile you were giving her. I couldn't do it. I couldn't add to that pain. So you just watched. I sat in my car for 2 hours. Then I left. But I came back the next week, and the week after. It became a habit. A Tuesday morning thing. I'd drive to the coffee shop near Emma's school. I'd watch you drop her off. I'd see her run to her friends. I'd see you wait until she was inside before you left. That's stalking Sarah. I know. But I couldn't stop. I needed to see her. I needed to know she was okay. Did Jessica know? No. I told her Emma was fine, but I never told her how I knew. She would have made me stop. Mark set down his coffee. What else did you see? I saw you teach Emma to ride a bike. You ran beside her for 3 hours in the park. Your shirt was soaked with sweat. She kept falling and you kept picking her up. You never got frustrated, never gave up. She wanted to learn. I saw you at her school play. She was a tree. You sat in the front row recording on your phone. You clapped louder than anyone else. She worked hard on that tree costume. I saw you on her birthday last year. You took her to that arcade. She won a stuffed dolphin. You carried it around all day even though it was huge. You looked ridiculous. She loved that dolphin. Sarah's voice got quieter. I saw you cry. Twice. Once in your car after you dropped Emma off. Once in the park when you thought no one was around. You sat on a bench and just broke down. Mark's jaw tightened. You had no right to see that. I know. I'm sorry. But I did see it. And that's when I realized I wasn't just watching for Jessica anymore. I was watching because I cared. About you. About Emma. About this little broken family trying to survive. We weren't your family to care about. No. But I did anyway. They sat in silence. The kitchen clock ticked. Somewhere outside, a dog barked. Did you ever think about just introducing yourself? Mark asked. Just walking up and saying hi. Being Emma's aunt instead of her stalker. Every single day. But Jessica made me promise. She said it would be too complicated. Too many questions Emma would ask that we couldn't answer. So I stayed away. I sent books. I made donations. I loved you both from a distance because that was all I was allowed to do. And now Jessica's dying and I'm here and Emma knows I exist. So I guess the secret's out. Mark studied her face. She looked exhausted. Eyes red from crying. Hair pulled back messily. Wearing borrowed clothes. This woman who'd been a ghost in their lives for 3 years was suddenly very real and very present. I don't know how to feel about you, he said honestly. Part of me is grateful. For the books. For watching over Emma. For telling me the truth about Jessica. But part of me is angry. You lied for 3 years. You could have told me at any time. I know. And this thing you said about having feelings for me. We can't do that. Not now. Not while Jessica is dying. I know that too. Maybe not ever. Because it's too complicated and too weird and Emma has to be the priority. I agree completely. So, why did you tell me? Sarah looked up at him. Because I've been lying for 3 years and I'm done. I'm done with secrets and hiding and pretending. Jessica's dying. Emma deserves the truth. You deserve the truth. And the truth is, I've been in love with you for longer than I should have been. You don't have to do anything about it. You don't have to feel the same way. But I needed you to know. That's not fair. Life isn't fair, Mark. If it was, Jessica wouldn't be dying. Emma would have her mother. And I wouldn't be sitting in your kitchen at 11 p.m. having this conversation. Mark stood up, started pacing. I can't think about this right now. I can't think about you and me and what any of that means when Jessica is upstairs in a hospital dying. I'm not asking you to. Good. Because Emma needs stability. She needs people who aren't going to fall apart or leave or complicate her life more than it already is. I'm not going anywhere. You say that now. I mean it. Mark stopped pacing, looked at her. What do you want from me, Sarah? What is it you're actually asking for? Nothing. I'm not asking for anything. Then why tell me? Because keeping it inside was killing me. Because watching you and not being able to be near you was torture. Because I've spent 3 years loving you from coffee shops and parked cars, and I needed you to know I exist. I know you exist. You're sitting in my kitchen. You know what I mean. Mark did know. He wasn't stupid. He'd noticed her. The woman in the coffee shop who was always there on Tuesday mornings. He'd thought about talking to her a few times. Wondered if she was waiting for someone. Wondered why she always sat alone. He'd never imagined she was his ex-wife's sister, watching him, watching Emma, falling in love with them from across a room. This is insane, he said. Completely. Jessica's going to die. Emma's going to be devastated. And somehow in the middle of all that, I'm supposed to process the fact that you've been in love with me for 3 years. You don't have to process anything. Just let me be here. Let me help with Emma. Let me be part of this in whatever way makes sense. And your feelings. I'll handle them. They're my problem, not yours. Mark sat back down. I need you to promise me something. What? Don't tell Jessica about how you feel. She doesn't need that on top of everything else. I would never tell her. And don't tell Emma. She's 8. She doesn't need to know her aunt has feelings for her father. Of course not. And don't expect anything from me. I can't give you anything right now. Maybe not ever. I don't expect anything. Good. Then we understand each other. We do. But the way Sarah looked at him said she was hoping for more than understanding eventually. Mark saw it in her eyes. The hope, the possibility. He stood up. I'm going to bed. You can take the guest room again. We'll go back to the hospital tomorrow morning. Thank you. Don't thank me. I'm not doing this for you. He left her sitting at the kitchen table and went upstairs. Checked on Emma. She was sprawled across her bed, one arm hanging off the side Mr. Hoppy on the floor. He picked up the rabbit, tucked it back beside her, pulled the blanket up. In his own room, Mark lay in the dark staring at the ceiling. His phone buzzed. A text from Sarah downstairs. I'm sorry for complicating things. I just needed you to know the truth. He didn't respond. Another text. Thank you for letting me be part of this. It means everything. He turned off his phone. Sleep didn't come. He lay there thinking about Jessica dying, about Emma growing up without a mother again, about Sarah and her 3 years of secret watching, about coffee shops and anonymous books and a woman who loved him from a distance because getting closer was against the rules. At 6 a.m., Emma appeared in his doorway. Daddy, can we go see Mommy now? It's early, Em. Visiting hours don't start until 9. But what if she dies before we get there? Mark sat up. Come here. Emma climbed into bed with him, curled up against his side. She's not going to die today, Mark said. You don't know that. You're right, I don't. But the doctors are watching her carefully. They'll call us if anything changes. I want to tell her more things. About my life. I didn't get to tell her about my hamster. You have a hamster? No, but I want one. And I want to ask her if I can get one. Mark almost smiled. You want to ask your dying mother for permission to get a hamster? She's still my mom. Moms are supposed to say yes or no to stuff. That's true. So can we go? After breakfast. We'll leave at 8:30. Get there when visiting hours start. Emma was quiet for a moment. Daddy, is Aunt Sarah going to stay with us? I don't know. Why? I like her. She's nice. And she knows a lot about books. She does. And she cried when she saw me. Like she really cared. She does care about you, Em. Very much. Do you like her? The question caught him off guard. I barely know her. But do you like her so far? She's okay. She told us the truth about your mom. That was brave. She's pretty. Mark looked down at his daughter. Is she? Yeah. Don't you think so? I haven't really noticed. Emma giggled. Liar. You notice everything. When did you get so smart? I told you. I'm practically grown up. They got up, made breakfast. Sarah appeared looking like she hadn't slept either. They ate in silence. Awkward. Tense. Too many unsaid things floating in the air. At 8:30 they piled into the car. The drive to the hospital felt shorter this time. Familiar already, like they were settling into a routine. Jessica was awake when they arrived, sitting up slightly, looking better than yesterday. Emma! Her face lit up. You came back. I told you I would. Emma climbed onto the bed. I have more stuff to tell you. I want to hear everything. Mark and Sarah took their positions by the window, watching, listening. Emma talked about wanting a hamster, about her friend's birthday party at the roller rink, about losing a tooth and putting it under her pillow and getting $5 from the tooth fairy. $5, Jessica said. The tooth fairy is generous. Emma looked at Mark. Really generous. Mark shrugged. They spent the morning there. Nurses came and went. A doctor checked Jessica's vitals. Her oxygen levels were stable, her pain managed. She was having a good day. Can I ask you something? Emma said during a quiet moment. Anything, baby? Did you know you were going to get sick again when you got better? Jessica thought about that. No, I hoped I wouldn't. I hoped I'd stay healthy and eventually get brave enough to see you again. But hope doesn't always work out. That's sad. Yeah, it is. Are you scared of dying? Mark tensed, ready to intervene. But Jessica met Emma's eyes steadily. A little bit, but I'm more sad than scared. Why sad? Because I'm going to miss so much. Your first day of high school, your graduation, your wedding, all the important moments. I won't be there. Emma's eyes filled with tears. I don't want you to miss those things. Me neither, baby. But that's how it's going to be. So I need you to promise me something. What? Promise me you'll remember I loved you, even when I'm gone, even when you're 50 years old and have kids of your own. Promise you'll remember your mom loved you more than anything. I promise. And promise me you'll be happy, that you'll have a good life, that you won't let my mistakes make you afraid to love people. What mistakes? Leaving, lying, pushing people away because I was scared. Don't do what I did. Be braver than me. Emma nodded seriously. I'll try. Jessica looked past Emma to where Mark stood. Mark, can I talk to you alone? Mark's stomach dropped. Sure. He walked to the bed. Sarah took Emma's hand. Come on, sweetie. Let's go find some juice. But I want to stay. Mommy needs to talk to Daddy. We'll come back in a few minutes. Emma reluctantly climbed off the bed. Sarah led her out of the room. When they were alone, Jessica patted the space beside her. Sit. Mark sat carefully on the edge of the bed. Thank you, Jessica said, for bringing her, for not poisoning her against me. You would have had every right to. She needed to know the truth. I know, but still, thank you. You don't have to keep thanking me. Yes, I do. You're being kinder than I deserve. Mark didn't argue with that. Jessica took his hand. Her skin was thin, papery. I need to say something and I need you to listen without interrupting. Okay. I've been watching you with Sarah. The way you look at each other when you think no one's paying attention. The way your hands almost touch and then you both pull back. Jess. You promised not to interrupt. She squeezed his hand weakly. Sarah's been in love with you for a long time. She thinks I don't know. But I do. Sisters can tell these things. She told me, last night. I told her it was complicated and weird and couldn't happen. Why not? Because you're dying. Because it's disrespectful. Because Emma needs stability, not her father dating her dying mother's sister. Those are all good reasons, logical reasons. But they're also bullshit. Mark's eyes widened. Jessica almost never swore. I'm dying, Mark. That's true. But you're not. Emma's not. Sarah's not. And when I'm gone, you're all going to have to keep living. I can't think about that now. You have to. Because I need to know that Emma will be okay. That she'll have people who love her. And Sarah loves her, really loves her. She's been watching over her for 3 years. That's still creepy no matter how many times someone says it. Jessica smiled. Maybe, but it also shows how much she cares. She couldn't stay away. She risked you finding out and hating her just so she could make sure Emma was okay. What are you saying? I'm saying when I'm gone, if something develops between you and Sarah, you have my blessing. Jessica, I can't have this conversation with you. Why not? Because you're lying in a hospital bed dying. Because asking me to think about dating your sister while you're dying is insane. Maybe, but I'm dying and I get to be insane if I want to. She coughed, caught her breath. I need to know Emma will be loved, by you, by Sarah, by people who will show up and stay and not run away when things get hard like I did. You were dying. That's different from running away. Is it? I don't know anymore. But what I do know is that Sarah is good. She's kind. She loves Emma. And she loves you. That's a good foundation. For what? A relationship while you're dying. For after. For when you're both grieving and trying to figure out how to help Emma through losing her mother for the second time. For when you need someone who understands what Emma lost because she lost her sister. You're going to need each other. Mark pulled his hand away. I can't do this. You can. You just don't want to. Same thing. It's not. Jessica leaned back against her pillows. She looked exhausted. I'm not saying fall in love with her tomorrow. I'm saying don't close that door because you think it's wrong. It's not wrong to keep living after someone dies. It feels wrong. I know, but it's not. Promise me you'll think about it. I'm not promising anything. Stubborn as always. You're one to talk. They sat in silence. Jessica's breathing was labored. Mark could hear the oxygen flowing through her cannula. I really am sorry, Jessica said quietly. For everything. For leaving. For lying. For wasting 3 years we could have had together as a family. I know you are. Do you forgive me? Mark thought about that. Ask me again in a few weeks. After you're gone and I've had time to process. Maybe then I'll know. That's fair. You're not going to like this, but I'm angry at you, really angry. You made choices that hurt Emma. That hurt me. You don't get to die and have all that anger disappear. I don't want it to disappear. I want you to feel it, to work through it, to eventually let it go so it doesn't eat you alive. Working on it. Good. Sarah and Emma appeared in the doorway. Emma was holding a juice box. Can we come back in? Sarah asked. Please, Jessica said. I missed you. Emma climbed back onto the bed, started talking about the vending machine and how it ate Sarah's dollar and they had to shake it to get the juice to drop. Mark moved back to the window. Sarah joined him. What did she say? Sarah whispered. She knows. About your feelings. She said she's known for a while. Sarah's face went pale. Oh God, did she ask you to stay away from me? No, she did the opposite. What do you mean? She gave us her blessing, for after she's gone, if something happens between us. Sarah stared at him. She what? I told her it was insane, that we couldn't think about that now, but she insisted. What did you say? That I wasn't promising anything. Sarah looked down. And do you promise anything? No, because this is too complicated and too raw, and Emma has to come first. I agree. But maybe, eventually. After enough time passes and everyone's had space to grieve, maybe we figure out what we are to each other. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. Maybe that's the best I can do right now. Maybe is enough. They stood by the window while Emma talked and Jessica listened. The afternoon sun came through the blinds in stripes. The machines beeped their steady rhythm. "Sarah," Mark said quietly. "Yeah. Thank you for telling me the truth. About Jessica. About everything. Even though it's complicated as hell, I'm glad I know." "You're welcome." "And for the books. Emma really did love those books." "I'm glad." They stood in comfortable silence for the first time since Sarah had shown up on his doorstep. Across the room, Emma laughed at something Jessica said. For just a moment, everything felt almost normal, almost like a family. Broken and weird and completely wrong by any traditional definition. But a family nonetheless. The almost normal feeling lasted about 10 more minutes. Then Jessica started coughing. Hard, racking coughs that shook her whole body. Emma scrambled off the bed, terrified. "Mommy!" A nurse rushed in. Then another. They adjusted Jessica's oxygen, helped her sit up straighter, gave her water. "It's okay," the first nurse said to Emma. "Your mom's okay. Just a little coughing fit." But Emma's face was white. Mark picked her up, held her close. "I want to go home," Emma whispered. "Okay, baby, we'll go." Jessica was still coughing, couldn't speak. She reached out her hand toward Emma. Emma buried her face in Mark's shoulder. "Say goodbye to Mommy," Mark said gently. "I don't want to." "I know, but we should." Emma lifted her head. "Bye, Mommy. Feel better." Jessica managed to nod between coughs, blew her a kiss. In the car, Emma was silent, staring out the window. Mark watched her at the rearview mirror. "You okay, Em?" She looked really sick when she was coughing. She is really sick. "Is she going to die soon?" Sarah turned in her seat. "We don't know exactly when, sweetie, but probably not today." "That's what you said yesterday." "And I was right. She's still here." "But for how long?" No one had an answer to that. At home, Emma went straight to her room. Mark heard her crying through the door. He started to go in, but Sarah stopped him. "Let me," she said. "Sometimes girls need girl talk." Mark hesitated. "You sure?" "Trust me." Sarah knocked softly, went into Emma's room. Mark stood in the hallway listening. He heard Sarah's gentle voice, Emma's sobs. Then gradually, the crying quieted. After 20 minutes, Sarah emerged. "She's okay. Just scared. I told her it was okay to be scared." "What else did you tell her?" "That her mom loves her, that you love her, that I love her, that she's not going to be alone no matter what happens." "Did you mean that? The part about you loving her?" "Every word." Sarah looked at him steadily. "I've loved that little girl for 3 years. I'm not stopping now." Something shifted in Mark's chest. "Okay." "Okay what?" "Okay, you can be part of this, part of helping Emma, part of whatever this family becomes." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. This is going to be hard, really hard." "I know. And I still don't know what we are to each other. Beyond Emma, beyond Jessica. I don't know if there's a we at all. I know that too. But you're here. You're helping. So you can stay." It wasn't romantic, wasn't even particularly warm, but it was honest. Sarah nodded. "I'll take it." That night, Sarah slept in the guest room again. It became a pattern. She stayed. Not because Mark asked, not because they talked about it. She just stayed. The next day they went back to the hospital, and the day after that. And the day after that. A week passed. Then 2. Emma's school started. Mark enrolled her but kept her schedule flexible. 2 days a week at school, 3 days at the hospital. Jessica's good days became fewer. Bad days became the norm. More oxygen, more pain medication, less time awake. But on the good days, she and Emma talked. About everything. About school and friends and books and dreams. About what Emma wanted to be when she grew up. About Jessica's childhood. About the time Jessica was 8 and wanted to be an astronaut. "Did you ever become an astronaut?" Emma asked. "No, baby. I became a mom instead. Which is better?" "Even though you're sick. Even though I'm sick. Because I got you. And you're the best thing I ever did." Emma smiled. "I'm pretty great." "Yes, you are." Sarah started staying at Mark's house full-time. She took the guest room, kept her distance, but she was there, making breakfast, helping with homework, reading Emma stories before bed when Mark was too exhausted. "You're good with her," Mark said one night. They were cleaning up dinner while Emma watched a movie in the living room. "I've had 3 years to learn what she likes." "That's still weird." "I know, but useful weird." Mark almost smiled. "Yeah, useful weird." 3 weeks in, Jessica took a turn. The doctor called at 2 a.m. Mark's phone rang, jolting him awake. "This is Dr. Martinez. Jessica's having trouble breathing. We've intubated her. You should come." Mark was dressed and in the car in 5 minutes. Sarah appeared beside him, already dressed. "I'm coming with you." "Emma's asleep." "I called your neighbor, Mrs. Chen. She's coming over to sit with Emma." "You called my neighbor at 2 a.m.? She didn't mind. She's a grandmother. Grandmothers never mind." They drove in silence. The hospital was dark, empty feeling. Up to the 4th floor. Jessica's room. She was unconscious. A breathing tube down her throat. Machines doing the work her lungs couldn't. Her skin was gray. "How long does she have?" Mark asked the doctor. "Hours, maybe a day. The cancer's in her lungs now. The intubation is just buying time." "Does she know we're here?" "We don't know, but you can talk to her. Hold her hand. She might hear you." The doctor left. Mark stood by the bed. This woman he'd loved. This woman he'd hated. This woman who'd broken his heart and was now breaking it again in a completely different way. "Hey, Jess," he said quietly. "It's Mark. I'm here." Jessica didn't respond. The machines beeped. "Emma's home. She's okay. She wanted to come, but it's too late. She'll be here in the morning." He paused. "I need you to hold on until morning. Can you do that? Emma needs to say goodbye properly." Nothing. Sarah stood on the other side of the bed. "Jessica, it's Sarah. I'm here too. And I need to say I'm sorry. For lying for you. For helping you hide. For not forcing you to tell the truth sooner. I thought I was helping, but maybe I made it worse." The machines kept beeping. "Emma's amazing," Sarah continued. "She's smart and funny and brave. So much braver than either of us. She forgave you faster than I ever could have. She's special, Jess. You made something really special." Mark looked at Sarah across the bed. Saw tears on her face. "Thank you," he said, "for being here. Where else would I be?" They stayed all night, taking turns dozing in the uncomfortable chair, holding Jessica's hand, talking to her even though she couldn't respond. At 6 a.m., Mark called home. Emma answered, voice thick with sleep. "Daddy." "Hey, baby. I need you to get dressed. Mrs. Chen is going to bring you to the hospital." "Is Mommy dying?" "Yes, Em, she is. Today, probably. You need to come say goodbye." Emma started crying. "I'm scared." "I know, but you have to be brave. Can you do that?" "I'll try." "That's my girl. Get dressed. Be there soon." 45 minutes later, Emma arrived. Mrs. Chen brought her up, gave Mark a sympathetic look, then left. Emma stood in the doorway, staring at her mother. The tubes. The machines. The gray skin. "She can't talk," Mark said gently. "But she can maybe hear you. You can tell her anything you want." Emma walked slowly to the bed, climbed carefully onto the edge like she'd done so many times before. But this time Jessica didn't turn her head, didn't smile, didn't squeeze Emma's hand. "Mommy," Emma's voice was small. "It's me. It's Emma." Nothing. "I came to say goodbye. Daddy said you're dying today." Emma wiped her eyes. "I don't want you to die. But Daddy says sometimes we don't get to choose." The machines beeped steadily. "I forgive you," Emma said, "for leaving, for lying. I was really mad, but I forgive you. And I'm going to remember you loved me. I promise." Sarah was crying openly now. Mark's vision was blurred. "I'm going to be okay," Emma continued. "Daddy takes really good care of me, and Aunt Sarah's here now. She's going to help. So you don't have to worry about me." Emma leaned down and kissed her mother's forehead. "I love you, Mommy. Thank you for coming back to say goodbye. That was brave." Jessica's monitor started beeping differently. Faster. Then slower. Then irregular. A nurse came in, checked the monitors, looked at Mark sadly. "It's happening. Do you want us to try to resuscitate?" "No," Mark said. "Let her go." The nurse nodded. "I'll give you privacy. I'm sorry for your loss." She left. Emma stayed on the bed holding her mother's hand. Sarah stood beside her, one hand on Emma's shoulder. Mark stood at the foot of the bed watching the woman he'd once loved slip away. Jessica's breathing changed, slower, shallower. The machines screamed alerts, but no one called for help. This was the end. Emma squeezed her mother's hand. "It's okay, Mommy. You can go. We'll be okay." And just like that, Jessica was gone. The monitors flatlined. The breathing stopped. The machines went quiet as nurses came in and turned them off. Emma didn't cry, just sat there holding her mother's hand. "She's not here anymore, is she?" Emma said. "No, baby, she's not." "Where did she go?" "I don't know, but she's not in pain anymore." Emma nodded slowly, kissed her mother's hand. "Bye, Mommy." Mark lifted Emma off the bed. She wrapped her arms around his neck and finally started crying. Big, body-shaking sobs. Mark held her tight, his own tears falling into her hair. Sarah stood by the bed looking at her sister's body. "I'm sorry, Jess. For everything. Rest now." They stayed until the nurses needed to prep the body. Then they left. Walked down the white hallways, into the elevator, through the lobby, out into morning sunshine that felt wrong. The world shouldn't be bright when someone just died. In the car, Emma was silent, staring straight ahead. "You okay?" Mark asked. "No, but I will be. That's what Mommy would want." Sarah reached back and squeezed Emma's hand. "She'd be proud of how brave you were." "I didn't feel brave. Being scared and doing it anyway, that's what brave is." They drove home. Mrs. Chen was waiting. She hugged Emma, said all the right things, then left. Inside the house felt too quiet. "I'm going to my room," Emma said. "Want company?" Mark asked. "No, I want to be alone for a while." She went upstairs. Her door closed softly. Mark and Sarah stood in the kitchen. "What do I do now?" Mark said. "How do I help her?" "You just be there. When she's ready to talk, you listen. When she needs to cry, you hold her. When she needs space, you give it to her." "You sound like you know." "My dad died when I was 10. Cancer, too. I remember what it was like." "I didn't know that." "Jessica and I both lost him. That's why she was so scared of Emma going through it. She knew how much it hurt." Mark sat down at the table, put his head in his hands. I need to plan a funeral, call people, figure out what happens next. I'll help. Whatever you need. Why are you doing this? Why are you still here? Sarah sat across from him. Because I love Emma. Because I loved my sister even though she made terrible choices. And because you shouldn't have to do this alone. We barely know each other. We've known each other for 3 weeks. That's something. 3 weeks of crisis. That's different from real life. Maybe. But it's what we have. Mark looked at her. Really looked. This woman who'd appeared on his doorstep with an envelope and secrets. Who'd been watching his family for 3 years. Who'd stayed when she didn't have to. Thank you, he said. For being here. You're welcome. And for telling the truth, even though it was hard. It needed to be said. They sat in silence, exhausted, grieving in different ways. Upstairs, Emma's door opened. She came down slowly. Can we have pancakes? She asked. Mommy used to make pancakes when I was sad. I can make pancakes, Sarah said. Emma looked at her. Will you put chocolate chips in them? If that's what you want. That's what I want. Sarah started cooking. Emma sat at the table coloring. Mark made phone calls. Jessica's mother, his parents, friends, the funeral home. We're having a service, he said. This Saturday. Emma looked up from her coloring. Can I talk at it? At the funeral, you want to speak? Yeah. I want to tell people about Mommy. The real Mommy, not the one who left. You sure you want to do that? I'm sure. Okay then. You can speak. Saturday came too fast. The funeral home was full. People Mark didn't recognize. Jessica's co-workers, old friends. Her mother in the front row looking frail and broken. Emma wore her best dress, held Mr. Hoppy tight. When it was her turn to speak, she walked to the front with Mark right behind her. She stood at the microphone, looked out at all the faces. My name is Emma Wilson. I'm 8 years old, and Jessica Wilson was my mom. Her voice was steady, clear. My mom left when I was 5. I thought she didn't love me anymore. But she did. She was just sick and scared and made a bad choice. She thought leaving would protect me, but it just made me sad. Emma paused. Mark stood beside her, ready to catch her if she needed. 3 weeks ago, my mom came back. Not all the way back. She was in a hospital, but I got to see her. We talked about stuff, about school and books and dragons. She told me she loved me. She said she thought about me every day. And I believe her. Emma's voice cracked, but she kept going. My mom made mistakes, big ones. But she was still my mom. And I loved her. And I'm going to miss her. But I'm also glad I got to say goodbye. Not everyone gets to do that. She looked at Mark. My dad's really great. He took care of me when Mom left. He never made me feel like it was my fault. He taught me to ride a bike and braids my hair, even though he's terrible at it. People laughed softly. And my Aunt Sarah's here too. She's been watching over me in secret for 3 years, which is weird but also kind of nice. She sent me books on my birthdays, the best books. She loved me even when she couldn't tell me. Emma looked out at the crowd. I don't know what happens when people die. But I hope my mom's somewhere nice. Somewhere she's not sick anymore. Somewhere she can finally rest. She picked up Mr. Hoppy. This is Mr. Hoppy. My mom gave him to me when I was 2. I sleep with him every night. And I'm going to keep sleeping with him because he reminds me that my mom loved me. Even when she was far away. Even when I couldn't see her. She loved me. Emma stepped back from the microphone. That's all I wanted to say. The room was silent. Then people started clapping. Not loud, but steady. Emma walked back to her seat. Mark's hand on her shoulder. After the service, people came up to them. Hugged Emma. Told Mark they were sorry. Sarah stayed close, helping manage the crowd. Jessica's mother approached. She was small, gray-haired eyes red from crying. I didn't know, she said to Mark. About the cancer. About any of it. Jessica didn't tell me. She didn't tell anyone. That was kind of her thing. I'm sorry. For what you went through. What Emma went through. Thank you. Jessica's mother knelt down to Emma's level. You look just like her. Did you know that Daddy says that sometimes? She loved you so much. She talked about you all the time when you were little. Did she tell you about leaving? No, she just said you were with your father. I should have asked more questions. I should have known something was wrong. Emma hugged her grandmother. It's okay. She lied to everyone. You couldn't have known. They went back to Mark's house after. A few close friends. Family. Sarah made sandwiches. Emma disappeared upstairs. Mark found her in her room an hour later. She was lying on her bed, staring at the ceiling. Hey, Em? You okay? I don't know what I'm supposed to feel. Mark lay down beside her. Whatever you're feeling is okay. I'm sad, but also kind of relieved. Is that bad? No, it's not bad. It's honest. I'm relieved I don't have to see her so sick anymore. And relieved I got to say goodbye. But sad she's gone. That makes sense. And I'm scared. Of what? That I'll forget her. It's already been 3 weeks and I can't remember exactly what her voice sounded like. That's why we have videos and photos. We'll watch them whenever you want. Promise? Promise. They lay there in silence, father and daughter processing the same loss in different ways. Daddy, Emma said eventually, is Aunt Sarah going to stay? Do you want her to? Yeah, I like her. She makes good pancakes. She does make good pancakes. And she loves us. I can tell. Yeah, she does. Do you love her? The question caught Mark off guard. I don't know yet. Maybe someday. Is that okay with you? Emma thought about it. Mommy would want you to be happy. She told me that. She said after she died, everyone should be happy again. That sounds like your mom. So yeah, it's okay with me. If you love Aunt Sarah eventually. Eventually is a good word. It means not now, but maybe later. Exactly. Emma rolled over and hugged Mark. I love you, Daddy. I love you too, Em. So much. Downstairs, Sarah was cleaning up. Most people had left. Just a few stragglers saying goodbye. When everyone was gone, she sat on the couch, looking exhausted. Mark sat beside her. You don't have to keep doing this. Staying here, taking care of everything. You've done more than enough. I want to be here. Why? Because Jessica was my sister. Because Emma's my niece. Because you're both grieving and shouldn't have to do it alone. And because you love me. Sarah looked at him. Yes, that too. But I'm not asking for anything. I'm just asking to be here. Jessica told me to give you a chance. Did you know that? No. She said after she died, if something happened between us, I had her blessing. What did you say? That it was insane, that I couldn't think about it while she was dying. And now that she's gone, Mark was quiet for a long moment. Now I'm grieving. Emma's grieving. And it's too soon for anything. But Sarah, yeah. Don't go, not yet. Stay. Help us get through this. And then later, when enough time has passed, we'll figure out what we are to each other. Sarah's eyes filled with tears. How much later? I don't know. Months probably. Maybe longer. However long it takes for Emma to be okay. And if I'm still here when that time comes, then maybe we see if your 3 years of watching and my 3 years of being watched actually mean something. Sarah smiled through her tears. I can wait. You've been waiting 3 years. What's a few more months? Nothing. It's nothing if it means being part of this. Mark reached over and took her hand. Then stay. I will. They sat on the couch holding hands while upstairs Emma slept dreaming of her mother somewhere free from pain, somewhere whole and healthy and finally at peace. Sarah stayed. Not in the guest room forever, but she stayed. For weeks, that turned into months. She helped Emma with homework, made breakfast, showed up at soccer games, became part of the rhythm of their lives without announcing it, without asking permission, just by being present. 3 months after Jessica's funeral, Emma had a bad night. Woke up crying at 2 a.m. Mark heard her first got up, but when he reached her room, Sarah was already there, sitting on the edge of Emma's bed holding her while she sobbed. "I dreamed Mommy was angry at me," Emma cried, "for forgetting what her voice sounded like." "Your mom could never be angry at you," Sarah said softly. "Never. But I can't remember. I try and I can't remember." "That's okay. That's normal. Our brains do that. It doesn't mean you loved her less." Mark stood in the doorway watching. Sarah looked up, saw him kept holding Emma. "Want to watch some videos?" Sarah asked. "Of your mom." Emma nodded. Sarah grabbed her phone, pulled up videos she'd taken over the years. Secret videos from coffee shops and parks. Jessica laughing, Jessica talking, Jessica alive. "How do you have these?" Mark asked. "I told you. I was watching. I recorded what I could." Emma watched the videos, tears streaming down her face. But gradually she stopped crying, started smiling at the screen. "There," Emma said. "That's what she sounded like. I remember now." After Emma fell back asleep, Mark and Sarah stood in the hallway. "Thank you," Mark said, "for being here, for helping. Where else would I be? Your own home, your own life. You've put everything on hold for us. This is my life, you and Emma. This is what I choose." Mark looked at her in the dim hallway light. "We should talk. About us. About what this is. Now, at 2:30 in the morning." "Why not? I'm awake. You're awake. We're both terrible at sleeping anyway." They went downstairs, made tea, sat at the kitchen table. "It's been 3 months," Mark said, "since Jessica died." "I know." "Emma's doing better. Still sad sometimes, but better." "She is." "And you're here every day, sleeping in my guest room, making my daughter breakfast, going to her soccer games." "Yes." "So what are we doing, Sarah?" She wrapped her hands around her tea mug. "I don't know. What do you want to be doing?" "I want to figure out if this thing between us is real or just grief. If I have feelings for you, or if you're just convenient because you're here. And I think I have feelings for you. Real ones. Not just because you're here." Sarah's breath caught. "You do?" "Yeah. I think about you when you're not here. I look forward to you coming over. I like the way Emma lights up when you walk in. I like how you remember that I take my coffee black, and Emma likes her sandwiches cut diagonal, not straight across. Those are small things. Small things matter. They add up to something bigger." "What's something?" Mark reached across the table and took her hand. "I think I'm falling in love with you. Slowly. Carefully. But falling." Sarah started crying. "I've been in love with you for 3 years. Waiting for you to catch up has been torture." "I know. I'm sorry it took so long." "Don't be sorry. You needed time. Emma needed time. I would have waited longer if I had to." "I don't want you to wait anymore. I want to try this. Us. For real." "What about Emma? Have you asked her?" "I did. She said it was okay. She said Jessica told her everyone should be happy again." "Jessica was smarter than both of us." "Yeah, she was." Mark stood up, walked around the table, pulled Sarah to her feet. "Can I kiss you, or is that too fast?" "I've waited 3 years. Nothing is too fast." He kissed her, gentle at first, then deeper. Sarah wrapped her arms around his neck and kissed him back, like she'd been starving for it. When they pulled apart, both were breathless. "Wow," Sarah said. "Yeah, wow. So what now? Now we take it slow. We don't rush anything. We make sure Emma's okay with every step, and we see if what we have is strong enough to build something real." "I can do slow." "You sure?" "After waiting 3 years. For you. For Emma, I can do anything." They dated. Officially. Mark took Sarah to dinner while his parents babysat Emma. They went to movies, walked in parks, did normal couple things that felt extraordinary because they'd both waited so long. 6 months after Jessica's funeral, Sarah moved out of the guest room. Not out of the house. Into Mark's room. Emma helped her move her stuff. "Does this mean you're staying forever?" Emma asked, carrying Sarah's books. "Would that be okay with you?" "Yeah, I like having you here. It feels like we're a real family." "We are a real family, just a different kind than most." "That's okay. Different is good sometimes." 8 months after Jessica died, Mark proposed. Not with a big production. Just the three of them at dinner. He pulled out a ring and looked at Sarah. "I know it hasn't been that long. I know some people will think it's too soon. But I also know I don't want to spend another day without you officially being part of this family. So Sarah Chen, will you marry me?" Sarah looked at Emma. "What do you think?" Emma grinned. "I think you should say yes." "Then yes. Absolutely yes." They got married 3 months later. Small ceremony. Just family and close friends. Emma was the flower girl wearing a dress Sarah helped her pick out. At the reception, Emma gave a speech. "My mom died almost a year ago. It was really sad, but she told me something before she died. She said I should be brave, braver than her. And I think marrying Aunt Sarah is Daddy being brave, because loving someone after you lose someone is scary. But he's doing it anyway, and I think my mom would be proud." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. A year and a half after Jessica's death, Sarah got pregnant. Emma was over the moon. "I'm going to be a big sister." "You are," Sarah said, touching her barely there belly. "What if I'm not good at it?" "You'll be great at it. You're great at everything." "Will the baby know about my mom? My first mom?" Mark knelt down to Emma's level. "We'll tell the baby all about Jessica, about how brave she was and how much she loved you. Your mom will always be part of our family." "Good. Because I don't want to forget her. We won't let you forget, ever." The pregnancy was hard. Sarah had morning sickness for months. Emma helped bringing her crackers and water, being patient when Sarah was too tired to play. "You're going to be an amazing mom," Emma told Sarah one day. "You're already amazing with me." "You think so?" "I know so. You never get mad when I'm sad about my mom. You just let me be sad. That's important. Your mom's part of you, Em. Being sad about her is normal. It doesn't mean you love me less. I love you both. Is that okay?" "That's perfect." 2 years after Jessica's death, Sarah went into labor. Mark and Emma rushed to the hospital, this time for something joyful instead of devastating. Emma waited in the waiting room with Mark's parents, pacing, nervous. "What if something goes wrong?" Emma asked her grandmother. "Nothing's going to go wrong, sweetie. Sarah's strong." "My mom was strong too, and she still died." "I know, but this is different. Sarah's not sick, she's just having a baby." 6 hours later, Mark appeared, grinning, exhausted. "You want to meet your brother?" Emma jumped up. "It's a boy. It's a boy, and he's perfect." They went back to the room. Sarah was sitting up in bed holding a tiny bundle. She looked tired, but happy. "Emma, meet your brother. We named him James, after your mom's dad." Emma approached slowly, looked at the tiny red face. "He's really small." "You were this small once?" "Was I this loud?" The baby was crying. "Louder," Mark said. Emma touched the baby's hand. His tiny fingers wrapped around hers. "Hi, James. I'm your big sister Emma. I'm going to teach you everything. How to ride a bike and read books and not be scared of the dark." Sarah's eyes filled with tears. "He's lucky to have you." "We're all lucky to have each other." They brought James home 3 days later. Emma helped with everything. Diaper changes, bottle feedings, late-night crying sessions. She was a natural. 3 years after Jessica died, Emma turned 9. They had a party in the backyard. Friends from school, cake and presents. James toddling around getting into everything. Halfway through the party, a delivery truck arrived. 2 men unloaded a large box. "What's that?" Emma asked. Sarah and Mark exchanged looks. "It's from your mom," Sarah said. "Your first mom. She bought it years ago, before she got sick the first time. She made me promise to give it to you on your 9th birthday." Emma stared at the box. Really? They opened it together. Inside was a telescope. Professional grade. Beautiful. There was a card attached, in Jessica's handwriting. "Emma, if you're reading this, I kept my promise. I didn't miss your 9th birthday. Not completely. I hope you use this to look at the stars, to dream big, to reach for things that seem impossible, because nothing is impossible if you're brave enough to try, and you, my sweet girl, are the bravest person I know. Love always, Mom." Emma held the card crying. She remembered. "She never forgot you," Sarah said. "Not for a single day." That night after the party, after the guests left after James was asleep, they set up the telescope in the backyard. All 3 of them. Mark, Sarah, and Emma. Emma pointed it at the sky, found stars, planets, the moon in perfect detail. "Make a wish," Sarah said. "That's what people do when they see stars." Emma was quiet for a moment. Then, "I used to wish for my mom to come back. Every birthday, every shooting star. I wished and wished. And she did come back. Just not the way I wanted. But she came back long enough to say goodbye. Long enough to tell me she loved me. So maybe my wish came true after all." Mark pulled Emma close. Sarah wrapped her arms around both of them. "You know what I'm wishing for now?" Emma asked. "What?" "Nothing. Because I already have everything. I have you, Daddy. I have Sarah. I have James. I have friends and school and this telescope. I don't need to wish for anything else." "That's a good place to be," Mark said. "Yeah, it is." They stood in the backyard under the stars. 3 people who'd been broken in different ways, who'd found each other through tragedy and secrets, and 3 years of watching from coffee shops. A family that didn't look like anyone expected. A father who'd been abandoned. A woman who'd loved from the shadows. A little girl who'd learned forgiveness was harder and more important than staying angry. Sarah rested her head on Mark's shoulder. Jessica would be proud. Of Emma. Of all of us. "You think so? I know so. We did what she asked. We kept living. We chose happiness. We became a family." Emma adjusted the telescope. "I can see Jupiter, and it has moons. 4 of them." "Let me see," Mark said. Emma stepped back. Let her father look through the telescope. Then Sarah took a turn. "It's beautiful," Sarah said. "Everything is," Emma said, "if you look close enough." Inside the house, James started crying. Sarah sighed. "Duty calls." "I'll get him," Mark said. "You stay here with Emma." He went inside. Sarah and Emma stayed in the yard. "Can I ask you something?" Emma said. "Anything." "Do you miss my mom, your sister, every day? Even though you have us now?" "Having you and your dad doesn't make me miss her less. It just makes the missing hurt less. Does that make sense?" "Yeah, I think so." They were quiet for a moment. "Can I tell you something?" Emma asked. "Of course." "I'm glad you watched us for those 3 years. I know it was weird and kind of creepy, but I'm glad you cared enough to do it." "Really?" "Really. Because if you hadn't been watching, you wouldn't have known what books I liked, and I wouldn't have gotten those books. And I might not have thought anyone remembered me." Sarah pulled Emma into a hug. I'll always remember you. Always. I know. That's why I'm glad you're here. Mark came back outside with James on his hip. The baby was half asleep, thumb in his mouth. Someone wanted to see the stars, Mark said. Emma took James from Mark, held him carefully, pointed up at the sky. See those, James? Those are stars. Millions of them. And someday, I'll teach you all their names. I'll teach you about planets and galaxies and black holes. I'll teach you everything our mom taught me about being brave. Both your moms? Sarah corrected gently. Yeah, Emma agreed. Both my moms. She looked at Sarah, at Mark, at her baby brother, at the telescope her first mother had bought years ago, knowing she wouldn't be there to give it in person. You know what I think, Emma said. What? Mark asked. I think love doesn't end when people die. It just changes shape. Mommy loved me before she died. She loves me now even though she's gone. And I love her back. And I love you guys too. All the love just fits together somehow. When did you get so wise? Sarah asked. I'm 9 now. I'm practically ancient. They all laughed. James stirred, opened his eyes, looked around at his family. Stars, Emma said, pointing up. Those are stars, baby brother. And they're beautiful, just like everything else in our weird, complicated, perfect life. Mark wrapped one arm around Sarah, the other around Emma. They stood together looking at the stars. 4 people who'd started as strangers and broken pieces. Who'd been brought together by death and secrets and truth. Who'd chosen to become a family anyway. Thank you, Mark said to Sarah, for that night, for knocking on my door, for telling me the truth even when it was hard. Thank you for letting me in, for giving me a chance. Emma looked up at both of them. And thank you for letting me be part of deciding. Not just doing what you wanted, asking me what I wanted too. You're the most important part, Mark said. Always. I know. That's why I'm so spoiled. They laughed again, the sound carrying across the backyard into the night air. Inside the house, the clock struck 10. Emma's 9th birthday was officially over. But the family they'd built, the love they'd found, the healing they'd done together, that was just beginning. One more look through the telescope, Emma asked. One more, Mark agreed. Emma handed James to Sarah, peered through the telescope, found a star brighter than the others. That one, she said. That's Mommy's star, the brightest one. How do you know? Sarah asked. Because she always wanted to be an astronaut. She told me that. So now she gets to be up there with the stars, living the dream she never got to live down here. Mark looked at where Emma was pointing. That's a good way to think about it. It's the only way to think about it, otherwise it's just sad. You're right. Emma stepped back from the telescope. Okay. I'm done. Let's go inside. James needs to sleep. And I have school tomorrow. They packed up the telescope, carried it inside, put James in his crib, tucked Emma into bed. Good night, Em, Mark said. Happy birthday. Best birthday ever, Emma said. Because I got a telescope from my mom, and a baby brother, and a family that loves me. What more could I want? Nothing. You have everything. I do, don't I? Mark kissed her forehead. Sarah did the same. We love you, Sarah said. I love you too, both of you, and James, and Mommy wherever she is. She's proud of you, Mark said. I know she is. I'm proud of all of us, for figuring it out, for being brave. They turned off the light, left Emma's door cracked open, walked down the hall to check on James. He was sleeping peacefully, thumb still in his mouth. In their own room, Mark and Sarah got ready for bed, exhausted, happy. We did it, Sarah said. We made it through. We did. Together. Jessica would be happy, seeing Emma like this, seeing us like this. I think you're right. They lay in bed in the darkness. Mark, Sarah said. Yeah. Thank you for taking a chance on me. For not sending me away that first night. For letting me be part of this. Thank you for showing up. For being brave enough to tell the truth. For loving Emma the way you do. It's not hard to love her. She's amazing. She is. And so are you. They fell asleep holding hands. In the room next door, Emma slept with Mr. Hoppy dreaming of stars and telescopes and mothers who loved enough to say goodbye. Down the hall, James slept the deep sleep of babies who are safe and loved. A family built from broken pieces, glued together with honesty and forgiveness and time. Not perfect, never perfect. Never, but real. And sometimes real is better than perfect anyway. Outside, the stars continued their ancient dance across the sky. Indifferent to human drama. Uncaring about love and loss and families trying to survive. But to one little girl with a telescope and two mothers and a father who never gave up, and an aunt who loved from the shadows until she could love in the light, those stars meant everything. They meant hope. They meant possibility. They meant that even in the darkest times, there was always light if you knew where to look. Emma had found her light. In her father's steady presence. In Sarah's patient love. In Jessica's final gift. In a baby brother who would grow up knowing he had a sister who would teach him to be brave. And in the end, that's what mattered. Not the pain of the past. Not the mistakes made. Not the 3 years of secrets and lies. What mattered was that they'd found their way to each other. That they'd chosen love over anger. That they'd built something new from the ashes of something broken. Some doors once opened really do change everything. And this family, born from a knock at midnight and a sister's confession and a mother's desperate love, was proof that change could be painful and beautiful at the same time. That endings could also be beginnings. That loss could make room for new love. That families came in all shapes, built in all ways, defined not by blood alone, but by choice and presence, and showing up even when it was hard. Under the starlit sky, in a house full of sleeping people who loved each other, peace settled like a blanket. Not the peace of forgetting, but the peace of acceptance, of moving forward while carrying the past, of honoring what was lost while embracing what remained. And somewhere, maybe among those stars, Emma had wished on, maybe in the space between heartbeats and hope, Jessica Wilson watched her daughter sleep, watched her family heal, watched love bloom in the wreckage she'd left behind, and smiled, because in the end, she'd given them the greatest gift she could, not her presence. She couldn't give that. But her absence, her leaving, her final blessing to love each other after she was gone. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is let go. And the second bravest thing is to hold on. And the hardest thing is knowing which one the moment requires. Jessica had let go. Mark and Sarah and Emma had held on. And together they'd created something neither perfect nor planned, but absolutely undeniably theirs.